Hello, I'm Tasbih AbdelSamie, a teaching assistant at the Faculty of Arts, Department of English Language and Literature, Aswan University. Due to the quarantine and the self-isolation in which we have been living for like a month now, and in response to the initiative of stay at home, stay healthy, the Measurement and Assessment Unit in the Faculty of Arts have assigned me and many of my colleagues to make videos to explain to all students how to do a research, especially that doing a research becomes now a very important requirement for the students to pass the semester instead of doing the normal exams. And this, of course, to help them remain safe. Now, the problem with many of our students is that they do not know what to do and they do not know basically what a research is. And to start, before speaking about a research, I have to mention the personal essay because many of you have done a lot of essays during your during the semester, the previous semester, and during the different years if you are in the third year. So the personal essay, as you know, depends mainly on your personal thoughts, on expressing your personal thoughts, your personal feelings, your personal opinions. And there's no need to refer to any other sources of information or ideas other than what you know or what you believe in. So you are only required to express yourself, to express your ideas, to say whatever you want or whatever you believe in without the need to prove that what you say is true or that what you say is you do not need to provide me with evidence. You do not need to bring secondary sources and quote from these sources and tell me that it's not me. I'm not the only one who says this, but I have some support because a lot of people or a lot of other researchers or thinkers have said this before, or even if one of them has said this before. So in a personal essay, you are only supposed to provide me or to present a solid argument about the subject you are discussing. Now, if this is the case with a personal essay, so indeed we know that when we do a research paper, when we write a research, we need to support what we say with we need to support what we say with evidence. You have to go beyond your personal information and personal knowledge. You have to seek out and use materials beyond your personal resources. So in a research paper, you are supposed to provide and support whatever you say with evidence. You have to bring an evidence. And evidence means to use sources, to use secondary sources to support your argument. And that's how a research can be solid and sound. Now, what is a research paper? A research paper, in fact, it means to do a research paper means to do or to explore an idea, to probe an issue, to solve a problem, or to make an argument in relation to what others have written. And what others have written is what we refer to as the secondary sources. So you need to find secondary sources to support what you say. Now, before I start to speak about how to write an academic research, the process of writing and the process of doing the research itself, we need to understand that, or we need to know that there are two types of research. The first type is the primary research. And the primary research is the study of a subject through first-hand investigation. You search the subject for the first time. For example, like analyzing a literary or historical text, a film, or a performance, conducting a survey or an interview, or carrying out a laboratory experiment. But because we are in the Faculty of Arts, so we are not going to do any experiments. The only thing that you're going to focus on is the analytical aspect, especially if you are a student in the Department of English Language and Literature. You're going to work on a certain play or a novel or a poem, or you may conduct a survey or an interview. So when we speak about the analytical part, or when we speak about the works of literature that you may use, we have to refer to the primary sources. What is a primary source? So the primary source is the work that you are going to work on, like a play or a novel, as I've just said. So if you're going to do a research about the play As You Like It, so As You Like It, Shakespeare's As You Like It is now your primary source. It's the source that you're going to base your analysis on. You're going to work on this play. You want to say something, or you have a certain point of view that you are going to prove, or you're going to speak about through investigating this literary work. So what other kinds of primary sources? Works of literature, statistical data, of course, and or historical documents. There are a lot of other primary sources, but like these are the most relevant primary sources to the Faculty of Arts, to our study, okay? Type. Then we have to mention the secondary research. This is the second type of research. So the secondary research is in fact what you are going to do, because of course you're not going to do a primary research. Primary research needs like a lot of experience and a lot of skill in doing the research. But you are going to focus on the secondary research. You are going to do a secondary research, because a secondary research is the examination of studies that other researchers have made of a subject. And all the subjects that you are going to work on have been researched before. So what you're going to do is to try to find a certain gap, a certain point that no one has ever spoke about, that a point that no one has ever spoken about, or a point that you want to say something about, something that interests you, something that you find. We're coming to this point soon. But now you have to find a certain point that no one has spoken about before, and you're going to speak about this point. What do you want to say about this point? And in order to do this research, in order to speak about your argument, or in order to present your argument, you have to use secondary sources. So before speaking about how to select a topic and how to start doing the research, we need also to know, why is a research important? What is the purpose of doing a research? The research in fact increases your knowledge and understanding of a subject. Sometimes it helps you to confirm your ideas and opinions, but other times it challenges and modifies them. Sometimes you find that the works you read, the secondary sources you read, support what you say. Those researchers say something that's similar to what you believe in, but other times you find that what the researcher says is totally different. It's the opposite to what you believe in. And in this case, there's two things that may happen to you. You will either, the research will either help you to form new ideas, or to reshape your thinking, to support what you know, with more information and more knowledge. We also have to remember that the main purpose of doing research is not to summarize the work of others, but to assimilate and to build on it, and to arrive at your own understanding of a subject. You are not supposed, and this is a mistake that many of people make, they think that doing a research means to read the works of others, to read the researches of others, and to summarize them, or to paraphrase them, to restate what they said. But no, this is not the purpose of doing a research. You are supposed, as I just said, you are supposed to find a gap in order to cover it, in order to speak about it, in order to tell us more about this point, not to say what others said again in a different way. You're not supposed to summarize the work of others, but instead you are supposed to build on it. And by building on others' works, you are helping to push the border of knowledge a little bit forward. And this is the purpose of doing research, to help the humanity by increasing our knowledge, by trying to do a contribution to knowledge. Now, the most important point to many of you. I have received, since the decision has been made that the students have to do researches instead of doing the exams, and I have been receiving dozens of questions about how can we do research? What is a research? okay, how can I start? What is the purpose, or what what am I supposed to do? This is the question. These questions I've been asked a lot, and to be honest with you, I can't tell you that these steps are the only steps that you have to follow to do a research. There are a lot of ways to do a research, and everyone has his own way. Because it's a research is an expression of a certain thing that you find amusing, or you are curious about. So it's up to you to follow the way that you want. But there are some rules, some basics, some general rules that all the people have, most of the people, I can't say all of them, but most of the people have agreed on them, or most of them follow them while they're doing research. And I think that we can divide this process, the process of doing research, we can divide it into three stages. The first one is the process of selecting a topic, to choose a topic, to find a certain point to speak about regarding the subject you're supposed to do research on. And the second stage is to find sources, to select these sources, to collect information and to select the important sources or the relevant sources to your subject or your topic. And finally, to start the process of writing. So as you see, the process of writing is the last thing. It's the last step in the process of doing research. So do not make the mistake of starting with writing. The last thing that you have to do is to write. This is the last step, the last thing that you can do. Okay? I'm sorry. So the first point is to select a topic to select a topic. Okay, let's see how we are going to choose a topic. Now, you know that you and your colleagues, you all have assigned to do the same a research on the same subject. For example, if you are all, if we are speaking about the first year students, the drama class or the drama course, they all have been asked to do a research on the play As You Like It. But the point here is, what is the difference between your research and other people's research? The difference would be the point that you want to discuss, your point of view. I'm so sorry for the voice. Okay, I'm so sorry. So, the first thing is to select a topic of personal interest to you. So yeah, what makes your work unique or distinctive from other works, from other students' works, is your point of view. Yes, we are all going to write about As You Like It, but not all of us have the same point of view. Every one of us has a certain point of view. Every one of us has have a certain question in the mind. There's a certain thing that you want to know more about, and that's why the very important advice that you have to keep in your mind is to select a topic of personal interest to you, not to anyone else. The topic that you're going to discuss must be interesting to you. You must find this point amusing, attractive, or you have to write about something that, yes, when you write about something that interests you, you find that you will enjoy the process of doing research, because you'll be writing about something that you are curious about, something that you want to know more about, and that's how you won't find that the process is as exhausting as it is to many people. After that, when you select a topic, you have to make sure that you can find manageable amount of information sources, but there is a point. If you find too much information, narrow your topic down. If you find too little information, broaden your topic down. And you have to keep in mind that you are time bound. You have a limited time to finish your work within, your research within, and you have a certain length, a certain number of pages that you are supposed to deliver or to hand to your professors. So that's why you have to make sure that the point you have chosen is adequate and can be covered within these couple of pages. So when you choose the title of your subject, the title of your research, make sure that it's not too general, not too broad, and not too specific. Too general can't be covered within 10 pages. Too specific, you won't be able to write anything about it. If we take an example, the concept of fear as expressed in literature, let's try this as the title of our work, of our research. So the concept of fear as expressed in literature, this is too broad. You have to narrow it down because you can't write about the concept of fear in all the literature in the world in one research, and not only in one research, in 10 pages, 20 pages maximum. So this is too broad a subject for 10-page paper. That's why you have to narrow it down to specify it more. So you can say the concept of fear as expressed in the 20th century literature or the 20th century English literature. Again, this is too broad because you can't cover all the literature written in English language in the 20th century. You have a lot of branches, you have drama, novel, and poetry, and you have a lot of writers. You can't cover all these in a 10-page paper. That's why you have to specify it more. So suitable or a nice or a good a good title would be The Concept of Fear in William Golding's Lord of the Flies. This would be a good a good title. The last point is to be original, and I just said this. To be original means to speak about your own point of view, to find a question, and this is important. So, sorry. To find a question means to find something that you want to speak about, and we are going to explain how to find a question. So before beginning your research, you have to do preliminary research to determine whether there are enough sources for you or not, for this subject or not. Okay, so now we are moving to, we are moving to the second step. So the first step is to select a topic. How can we select a topic? How can we know that this point of view, or how can we urge a certain idea to come up to our minds? How can we reach a point? This is a very important question because not all of us can find this point easily. Okay, it's not an easy task. So what you have to do is to do search, and search means to do a research means to read. Searching is reading. You have to keep reading, to read a lot, because the more you read, the more knowledge you have. The more you read, the better you write. So after reading, you will discover a lot of aspects regarding this subject. You will discover a lot of aspects regarding As You Like It. You find people speaking about As You Like It as a pastoral comedy, about As You Like It as a comedy, about As You Like It as one of Shakespeare's plays that investigate the social situation or the social situation of women in societies. You can look at the female character and study it from a feminist point of view. So there are a lot of points of view. How can I know that there are these points of views in this paper? The answer is to read. Do reading. And this is what we call preliminary research. Preliminary research is to keep searching for information, to keep reading a lot of articles, a lot of sources relevant to your subject. And this is how you are going to acquire knowledge. And the more knowledge you have, the more questions in your mind will rise. So when you are reading a subject, يعني وانت بتقرا في مثلا في مصدر معين، في secondary source معين، ممكن وانت بتقرا فجأة كده a question pops up in your mind. A question pops in your mind, write it down. Write this question down. And this question can be your research question. And a research question, what is a research question? A research question is a question that, it is a question that a research project sets out to answer. وظيفة البحث بتاعك كله هتبقى انه يجاوب السؤال ده، انك تلاقي اجابة على السؤال ده. فمهم جدا انك تلاقي السؤال ده، وعشان تلاقيه زي ما قلنا لازم تقرأ كتير جدا. طيب بعد ما لقينا الكويشن، بعد ما لقينا الريسيرش كويشن، نعمل ايه؟ هندخل على او هنتكلم على النقطة الثانية اللي هي thesis statement. You have to formulate a thesis statement. Now that you understand what you have been asked to do, have chosen a topic that fits the assignment, and have researched it and organized that research, you are ready to articulate your own point of view, your argument, or your assertion. Even if you aren't arguing for or against anything, your paper needs a thesis. طيب الثيسس statement دي هعملها ازاي؟ هعملها بان انا هجاوب على السؤال بتاع الكويشن الريسيرش كويشن. وفي الثيسس statement واحنا بنكتبها لازم نخلي we have to keep in mind that the thesis statement answers two questions: what and how. The first question that a thesis statement answers: what is your paper about? So the answer can be: my paper explains the relationship between dogs and humans. It's about university policies on freshmen living on campus. I wrote about views on marriage in Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. These all are answers to the question of what. And in the thesis statement, you have to find an answer to this question. But when you write a thesis statement, make sure not to speak in the first person. Do not say, I am going to write about this. No, you are not allowed to speak in the first person in the academic writing. Do not say, my paper explains. That's why these sentences have some mistakes, have some problems with them. The first is that they speak in the first person. They say, my paper explains. My paper is about university policies. I wrote about views on marriage. In academic writing, you have to be to the point. You have to be clear. What do you want to say? What is your paper about? The answer would be the relationship between humans and dogs. Immediately. Do not say it is about, my paper is about, it explains, I will do. No, do not say this, okay? The second problem with these statements is that they do not answer the second question, which is how. So how you are going to discuss this subject, or discuss this topic, or discuss this point. This means that this is your point of view. You are going to say, for example, you can say the relationship between dogs and humans goes both ways. Now أنا عرفت إنه أنت هتتكلم عن في علاقة humans and dogs، في كده علاقة أنت هتتكلم عن تأثير بتاع الإنسان على الحيوان والحيوان على الإنسان. طيب ممكن تقول many universities require freshman students to live on campus for their first year, which keeps students out of trouble, helps students get better grades, and increase their likelihood of staying in school. So لما احنا قلنا في النقطة الثانية أو الموضوع الثاني اللي احنا جاوبنا عليه إنه احنا هنتكلم عن university students في الكامبس living on campus. طيب هتقول إيه عنهم؟ What's your point of view? Okay, هتكلم عن the reasons، هتكلم عن إنه living on campus would keep students out of trouble and would help them get better grades and so and so. In Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, marriage is seen as a number of things, including as a social mobility tool, as a stake, and as a beneficial partnership. So in the thesis statement, you have to define, you have to state, or you have to answer two questions: what and how. طيب, what is a thesis statement أصلاً? The thesis statement is a statement that comes in the very beginning of a research. It comes. Some people say it must come at the very first sentence in the very first paragraph. Some people say that you can include it within your introduction. Anyhow, the thesis statement is a single sentence that formulates both your topic اللي هي الانسر to السؤال بتاع what, and your point of view ده الإجابة بتاع السؤال how. It is the answer to the central question or problem you have raised. When preparing your thesis statement, keep in mind your purpose in writing and the audience you are writing for. طيب, how to find sources? إزاي أوصل للsources دي؟ When searching online, you have to search using three ways. يا إما you are going to search using the author's name, or your title, or the subject. You will say Judith Butler. You're searching for a secondary source, or for an article or a book written by Judith Butler, or we are speaking about the secondary sources, okay? So the title, okay, you can write your title in the search engine or in the search books. The concept of Kieran William Golding's Lord of the Flies, for example. Or you can search with the subject. You are going to write about fear in literature, or marriage in literature, marriage in Jane Austen's novels, and so on. طيب after you find the sources what you're supposed to do. طب احنا دي كلها المرحلة الثانية اللي هي مرحلة doing the research, the process of searching. You are searching for information, you are collecting information now. It's very important to take notes. هتقرا يبقى تكتب على طول. تكتب ايه؟ notes. مش هنكتب الكتابة اللي هي الأخيرة اللي هو المقال البحث بتاعنا، لا هنكتب notes. طول ما انت بتقرا لازم تاخد notes. If you didn't take notes, so it would be as if you didn't read because you can't find these information back again. So take note of all the information you find relevant to your topic and cite them. Write that you have taken this note from this secondary source, its title, and write the name of the author. And inshallah Khalid Abdeltawab, inshallah he's going to discuss with you how to take notes in order to avoid plagiarism. And Mayar inshallah will discuss with you how to do the citation, the in-text citation and the word cited list. So I'm not going to focus a lot on the taking notes step, but this is where it comes. يعني دي المكان أو دي المرحلة اللي احنا بنعمل فيها taking notes. بعد ما بتcollect the sources تبدأ تقرا خلاص انت عارف ان هي دي sources relevant to your subject and you are going to use them. So you start reading and taking notes. Take note of all the information you find relevant. You can summarize, you can paraphrase, you can quote word for word from what you have read. So do not ever ignore any information that you find relevant. So work to understand all of the different viewpoints and schools while reading. بقى هنعمل ايه واحنا بنقرا؟ You have to understand all of the different viewpoints and schools of thought on your topic. This can be done by reading a variety of articles, reading a book or article that gives an overview of the topic and incorporates different points of view, or talking to an expert who can explain the topic in depth. طيب بعدين آخر مرحلة وهي outlining. How to do the outlining? The outline is simply it is a useful intermediary document between research and writing. بعد ما بنخلص عملية البحث هنبدأ في عملية الكتابة، ولكن مش بنكتب على طول. أول حاجة بنعملها we plan، بنخطط اللي احنا هنكتبه. بنعمل زي خطة كده. اوكي أنا مش هغير الفيديو ده لأن دي تقريبا رابع أو خامس مرة أسجل الكلام ده. فأنا مش عارفة ليه كل الناس دلوقتي بتعمل أصوات. I'm so sorry for all these voices. I'm so sorry. But يعني نرجع للموضوع بتاعنا outlining. Outlining means planning, to plan your work. It is a useful intermediary document between research and writing. It helps you gain an overview of the paper and keep track of all important aspects of the subject. And why we say that it helps you to gain an overview of the paper يعني ايه it helps you to gain overview of the paper لأن احنا في الاوتلاين بنكتب كل حاجة، بنخطط للبحث بتاعنا كل حاجة. بنكتب الانترودكشن، بنكتب كده كلمة introduction، هنشوف دلوقتي أنا جايبة لكم example. المهم إنه وظيفة الأوتلاين is to help you. It's all about getting organized, to get organized, and it helps you to structure your paper. طيب, when you create an outline, think critically about what you are trying to explain or communicate in your research paper, and what structure allows you to do that in a clear, organized way. طيب انا جايبه لكم اكزامبل عن الاوتلاين هنا. هنفترض ان الموضوع اللي احنا هنتكلم عنه هو شكسبير مثلا. فمثلا انا كده هفكر واقول ايه الافكار اللي انا هتكلم عنها عن شكسبير. هتكلم عن 3 افكار عن شكسبير. اوكي 3 افكار، يعني انت في البحث بتاعك حاول تتكلم عن 3 افكار. حاول تقسم الموضوع بتاعك او الكاتب بتاعك ل3 افكار او البحث اللي انت هتتكلم فيه ايا كان الموضوع هتتكلم عنه. طيب هنقسم شكسبير ل3 حاجات: early life, works, later life. early life انا هتكلم في early life عن حاجتين، مثلا عن his family and marriage. اهو انا جايبه هنا early life دي اول point. why okay early life بنتكلم في early life عن 2 points: family and marriage. فfamily هتكلم عن his mother and his father. نقاط، انا ما كتبتش جمله، ما كتبتش his early life is so and so، لا بس early life يعني انا بحاول اذكر نفسي انه انا اول باراجراف هتكلم فيه عن his early life. اول باراجراف في البادي، احنا السيرش بتاعي هيتقسم introduction مقدمه، ودي قلنا بنحط فيها piece statement، بنحط فيها الكويشن بتاعنا وبنتكلم فيها عن احنا بنقدم البحث بتاعنا. تمام؟ الثيوريتيكال فريم ورك، كل الحاجات دي. طيب بعد كده البادي اللي هو انا ببدا اتكلم فيه عن الافكار اللي انا هعالجها في البحث ده. اول حاجه early life، مثلا انا هنا هتكلم عن his early life، هتكلم عن his works اعماله، وهتكلم عن his later life. early life فهقول هتكلم عن عيلته وعن جوازه his family his marriage، وبعدين هقول ايه في his family، هتكلم عن باباه ومامته. طيب هتكلم عن ايه في المارriage، هتكلم عن his life with Anne Hathaway his wife، وهتكلم عن some reference to some of his poems اللي كتبها في his early life في بداية حياته خالص. بعد كده هتكلم عن works بتاع شكسبير، هتكلم عن المسرح بتاع شكسبير، يا اما his plays و his sonnets. ده الworks بتاعته، احنا عارفين شكسبير was a playwright and a poet. فهتكلم عن plays. البلايز بتاعت شكسبير بتنقسم لثلاث حاجات: tragedy, comedy and history. وبعدين هاخد example على tragedy, example على comedy, example على history. طبعا الاوتلاين اللي انا جايباه ده كبير جدا، يعني ده بتاع بحث كبير قوي. انت هتاخد نقطه واحده، يعني انت ممكن تقول مثلا his works، هتكلم عن plays، هتكلم عن التراجيدي بتاع شكسبير، تمام؟ ده في ال 10 page paper. his early life هتكلم عن his early poems، عشان انا بتكلم اصلا عن شكسبير as a playwright، انا مالي حياته الشخصيه، صح؟ طيب finally هتكلم عن his later life، هتكلم مثلا عن his last two plays when he retired to Stratford. هتكلم عن تفاصيل زي كده. فزي ما انتم شايفين الاوتلاين بقسمها لنقاط، 3 افكار رئيسيه، كل فكره رئيسيه بحط تحتها فكرتين او 3 افكار متفرعه منها، وكل فكره بفرعها لفكرتين. طبعا الافكار دي كلها بعدين بحولها لجمل وبحولها لمعلومات انا بضيفها او بحطها في البحث بتاعي. ولازم واحنا بنكتب المعلومات دي we have to support what we say with argument. Finally واخر حاجه هي ال conclusion is an analytical summary, but I summarize all what I have said and I say my conclusion, the findings، الحاجات اللي انا توصلت لها. اجابه السؤال اللي انا كنت حاطه المفروض بوصل لها في الكونكلوجن. انا السؤال بتاعي مثلا كان what are the reasons behind coronavirus مثلا، يعني او how are epidemics represented in literature. ازاي تم وصف او ازاي المعاناة الانسانية في الاعمال الادبية بسبب الاوبئة تم تمثيلها او تم يعني it was depicted in literature. ازاي ده حصل؟ فده ممكن يكون السؤال بتاعي. في الكونكلوجن لازم الاقي اجابه على السؤال اللي انا حطيته في بدايه البحث، لازم. دي وظيفه الكونكلوجن. واخر حاجه هي التايتل بيج. التايتل بيج بحط فيها بياناتي كلها، ودي بتبقى ورقه فاضيه ما فيهاش غير بياناتك وبيانات البحث بتاعك. the title, the researcher's name اسمك، the professor's or the supervisor's name اسم الدكتور او البروفيسور اللي كلفك بالبحث ده. affiliations, institution، ده تكتب الميجر الفيلد بتاعك، التخصص بتاعك، القسم، الكليه، الجامعه، التاريخ اللي انت هتسلم فيه البحث بتاعك. That was all for today. ده كل اللي كنت هقوله يعني في الفيديو. خالد ان شاء الله will discuss with you. خالد عبد التواب my colleague will discuss with you plagiarism, how to avoid it, what are the consequences of plagiarism, and Mayar ان شاء الله will discuss with you the works cited list, how to do a works cited list, how to cite. بعتذر مرة تانية عن الأصوات الكتير اللي حواليا، مش هقدر أكرر الفيديو تاني، I'm sorry. وكمان أحب أقول مرة تانية إنه الفيديو ده تبع مبادرة خليك في بيتك، وتم تكليفنا بعمل الفيديوهات دي من وحدة قياس والتقويم في كلية الآداب جامعة أسوان. Stay at home, stay healthy.